Most women going through divorce know they need to fight for the house, the savings, and maybe even alimony. But what nearly no one tells you is that the most valuable asset in your marriage might be the one sitting quietly in your ex's retirement account. And if you overlook it, you might be giving up the money that was supposed to support you for the rest of your life. You'd be shocked how many women leave divorce thinking they made a clean split, only to realize years later they signed away their share of a pension that took decades to build. And by then, it's too late. The papers are final. The benefits are locked. And the regret starts to set in. Maybe you think, it's his job, his retirement, he earned it. But what the law sees, and what most attorneys forget to explain, is that pensions earned during marriage are joint marital property. And that means you're legally entitled to a portion. But only if you know how to claim it. And only if you act before the divorce is final. So before you sign anything, before you agree to any settlement, and before you assume the pension isn't worth bothering about, there are some things you need to know. Things that could protect your future or quietly cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over the long run. In this video, we're going to walk through 6 critical truths about pension division that every woman should understand before a divorce is finalized. These aren't guesses. They're the legal realities that get missed, overlooked, or ignored far too often. Some of them are simple. Some are surprising. And one or two might honestly change what you decide to do next. So stay with me until the end. Because this isn't just about getting your fair share. It's about protecting the years you still have ahead of you. Let's get started. One of the biggest mistakes women make during divorce is assuming that retirement accounts are all the same. But they're not. A pension is not like a 401k or an IRA. And if you treat it like one, you might walk away with nothing. Unlike a 401k, which can be divided with a simple court order, pensions require something very specific. A QDRO, short for Qualified Domestic Relations Order. And without it, the pension administrator has no legal obligation to pay you anything. Here's the shocking part. Even if your divorce settlement clearly says you're entitled to half of your ex's pension, that's not enough. The settlement is just the first step. Without a properly filed QDRO, one that meets the specific requirements of that pension plan, the benefits go entirely to your ex. And once he retires and starts collecting, there's no going back. You're locked out. No appeals. No second chances. It's over. You'd be surprised how many lawyers gloss over this or don't explain it clearly. Some assume the QDRO will be handled later. Others pass it off to a paralegal or forget to follow up entirely. And by the time you realize something went wrong, it's usually years later, when your ex retires and the checks never come. And here's the worst part. Many women think it's already taken care of, just because the divorce papers mention the pension. They sign the documents, move on, and never hear another word about it. But behind the scenes, unless the QDRO is drafted, approved, and submitted to the pension administrator before or immediately after the divorce, you might as well have walked away empty-handed. If you're in the middle of a divorce, or even if yours was finalized recently, don't assume the pension is protected just because it was mentioned. Ask your lawyer directly. Has the QDRO been filed? Has it been accepted by the plan? Can I see confirmation in writing? Because if you wait until your ex retires to ask those questions, you may find the door already closed. And the money you thought you were counting on? It's gone. Permanently. But that's just the first issue. Because even if the QDRO is in place, there's something else that can quietly reduce your share, without you ever realizing it. Let's talk about that next. Most women don't realize this, but the timing of your QDRO, and the exact language inside it, can dramatically affect how much of the pension you actually receive. Even if you're awarded 50%, what you actually get can be much less. Here's why. Most pension plans use a formula that only considers the years your ex worked during the marriage. But if the QDRO isn't written carefully, they might base your share on his total service, including the years after the divorce. And that could mean losing out on thousands, even tens of thousands, over time. Let's break this down with an example. Say your husband worked at the same job for 30 years, but you were married for only 20 of those years. If the QDRO isn't clear, the plan might say, she gets half of what he earned during the marriage, not half of the entire pension. And if your attorney didn't fight to lock in a marital coverture fraction, or simply missed that language, your portion shrinks, even though you assumed you'd get 50%. It gets worse. Some pensions include cost of living adjustments, survivor benefits, or early retirement bonuses. But unless those are explicitly listed in the QDRO, you don't get them. You might assume your share will grow just like his, but it won't. His checks go up with inflation. Yours stay flat. His plan includes a survivor payout. Yours ends the day he dies. Unless the QDRO locks that in. Most women never see this coming. They get their half, but it's missing key parts. No COLA. No survivor benefit. No early retirement credit. And the worst part? Once the QDRO is finalized and approved by the plan, it's almost impossible to change. Even if you discover the mistake years later, the pension administrator will simply say, "We're just following the order we were given." This is why it's not enough to just have a QDRO. You need one that's strategically written to protect every part of what you're owed, and that requires working with someone who understands not just divorce law, but pension law too. Because pensions aren't just numbers on a page. They're complicated legal structures, and if the details aren't handled right, the money doesn't go to you. And once your ex retires and starts collecting, the clock runs out. That's why the next issue is just as important, and almost nobody talks about it. It's what happens if your ex passes away before you. And the answer may completely blindside you, unless you prepare for it now. Let's talk about that. Here's something most women don't learn until it's too late. If your ex dies before you, your share of the pension could disappear completely, unless you've taken steps to protect it. It sounds shocking, but it's true. Just because you're awarded part of a pension in the divorce doesn't mean you're automatically protected if he passes away. Unless the QDRO includes a survivor benefit, your payments could end the day he does. Here's how it works. Many pension plans offer a joint and survivor annuity, which continues payments to a spouse or ex-spouse after the retiree's death. But, and this is the part most people miss, the plan won't automatically give that to you. It has to be requested and approved in the QDRO. If it's not included, and your ex doesn't voluntarily choose it when he retires, you could be left with nothing. And don't expect the pension plan to warn you. They won't call you. They won't send a letter. They just stop the payments. You could wake up one morning, check your account, and suddenly the income you've relied on for years is gone. Forever. What makes this even more dangerous is that many survivor benefits reduce the monthly payout slightly. So some ex-husbands choose to waive it, especially if no one is reminding them that their ex-wife depends on it. And by the time you find out, it's already too late. The benefits have been locked in, and the plan administrator won't change them after retirement. That's why it's absolutely critical to insist on survivor protection in the QDRO, and get it signed before your divorce is finalized. This one detail can mean the difference between a secure retirement and financial chaos. Because the reality is, you can't rely on your ex to protect your future. You have to make sure the paperwork does. Now, if you're thinking, well, at least I have Social Security to fall back on, hold on, because not all women realize what happens to Social Security benefits after divorce either. And depending on your marriage length, there could be money sitting there with your name on it, if you know how to claim it correctly. Let's break that down next. Most women don't realize that Social Security can actually work in your favor after divorce, but only if you meet very specific criteria. And missing those could mean walking away from money you're legally entitled to. Here's the truth. If your marriage lasted at least 10 years, and you're currently unmarried, you may be eligible to collect benefits based on your ex-husband's record, even if he's remarried. Now, this doesn't reduce his benefits. He'll still receive what he's entitled to. But the Social Security Administration allows you to collect up to 50% of your ex's benefit if it's higher than what you'd receive on your own. And no, you don't need his permission. You don't even have to contact him. This is between you and the SSA, and it's completely confidential. But here's where many women go wrong. Some remarry too quickly without realizing that a new marriage can cancel out your right to your ex's benefits. Others don't understand how the timing of when you file impacts the monthly amount. If you claim too early, you could permanently lock yourself into a reduced payout for the rest of your life. And once you choose, it's extremely difficult to change. What's even more surprising? If your ex passes away and you were married for at least 10 years, you might qualify for survivor benefits, which can be up to 100% of his benefit, depending on your age when you file. Again, these are benefits that are often overlooked simply because no one tells you they exist. So why does this matter during the divorce process? Because your decision about whether to pursue a share of his pension or rely on Social Security could change your financial strategy entirely. For some women, collecting on their ex's Social Security makes more sense than fighting for a small pension payout. For others, the opposite is true. The bottom line is this: Social Security isn't just about retirement, it's about strategy. And if you don't fully understand what you're entitled to, you could leave thousands of dollars on the table. Money that could have given you peace of mind, financial independence, and choices. But financial independence after divorce doesn't stop at benefits. It also depends on one more thing: how your retirement accounts are divided and taxed. And here's where a lot of people, and even lawyers, get it wrong. What seems fair on paper can be wildly unfair in reality. And it all comes down to this next point. Retirement accounts like 401(k)s and IRAs often become a major battleground in divorce. But many women don't realize how complicated these assets can be once the divorce is final. You might think that getting half of a 401(k) or IRA is a clean break. But without the right legal steps, accessing that money can turn into a costly headache. The key is something called a QDRO, or Qualified Domestic Relations Order. This is a special legal document that allows your ex-spouse retirement plan administrator to pay your share directly to you, without triggering penalties or early withdrawal taxes. Without a QDRO, you could face hefty fees, tax penalties, or even lose access to your rightful share. What's shocking is how often women walk away without a QDRO because they didn't know to ask for it, or assume the court automatically orders it. That's rarely the case. It's your responsibility to make sure this document is drafted, filed, and approved before you can tap into those funds. If you miss this step, you might not see a dime from that 401(k), even if it was awarded to you in the divorce settlement. Another common pitfall? Not understanding how early withdrawals work if you're younger than 59 and a half. Taking money out too soon without a proper QDRO can trigger a 10% early withdrawal penalty plus ordinary income tax, quickly cutting your share by a third or more. That can devastate your financial future and leave you scrambling to make ends meet. And it gets even more complicated if your ex has multiple retirement accounts or pensions with different rules and administrators. Each one might require a separate QDRO, with its own timeline and paperwork. The longer you wait, the more you risk losing control or facing delays that could cost you years of growth and security. So, before you finalize anything, get informed. Talk to a lawyer who understands the nuances of retirement accounts and QDROs. Don't just accept a number on paper. Know exactly how to secure it, protect it from taxes and penalties, and make sure it's accessible when you need it. Because in the end, it's not just about what you're entitled to. It's about making smart moves now so you can keep what's rightfully yours tomorrow. And that's a lesson every woman should learn before the ink dries on her divorce papers. Understanding the tax implications of pension division is crucial. But it's a topic that many women overlook until it's too late. When pensions or retirement accounts are divided, the way you receive your share can have a major impact on how much you actually keep. For starters, pensions are usually taxed as ordinary income when you begin to withdraw funds. That means if you're not prepared, a large portion of your pension payments could disappear straight to taxes. Some women assume that splitting the pension means they simply get half the money. But in reality, the government takes a significant cut, especially if withdrawals aren't managed carefully. What's even more surprising is how the timing of when you start taking distributions affects your tax bill. If you wait until the standard retirement age to begin receiving your portion, you might be able to reduce your tax rate. But if you take early withdrawals, you could face penalties on top of taxes. Penalties that can add up fast and seriously eat into your financial security. Another tricky area is how pensions interact with other income sources. If your pension income pushes you into a higher tax bracket, you might end up paying more taxes on your Social Security benefits or other earnings. Planning ahead to balance these income streams can save you thousands. And here's something many don't realize. Different states have different rules about taxing pension income. Some states offer favorable exemptions, while others tax pensions heavily. If you're planning to relocate after your divorce, understanding these state tax laws can make a huge difference in your overall financial picture. The best advice? Work with a financial advisor or tax professional who knows the ins and outs of pension taxation. They can help you create a strategy to minimize taxes, avoid penalties, and stretch your pension income as far as possible. Because knowing how taxes affect your pension isn't just about numbers on a page. It's about protecting your future and making sure you don't lose more than you have to. And that kind of knowledge is power when you're building your life after divorce. Now that you know these essential facts about pension division, take a moment to reflect on where you stand. Are you fully informed about what you're entitled to? Have you considered the tax consequences and legal steps needed to protect your share? The truth is, pension division is complex and often misunderstood. But with the right knowledge, you can take control and secure your financial future. Remember, this isn't just about dividing assets. It's about understanding the long-term impact on your life and independence after divorce. Don't wait until the paperwork is signed to start asking these questions. The decisions you make today will shape your financial stability for years to come. If you recognize something new or surprising in this video, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend who might also benefit from knowing these truths before finalizing their divorce. And if you're facing this challenge right now, take action. Consult with experts, ask the tough questions, and make sure you're protecting what's rightfully yours. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and tell us one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it moving forward. Your voice matters, and your experiences can inspire others. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our future content designed to inform and empower you. Your support means we can keep creating videos that make a real difference. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.